What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. It's the Amplified Man here, and we are creeping closer and closer to that 60 episode mark. They say time flies when you're having fun. Well, I'm having the time of my life, and I thank you guys for being along on this journey with yours truly. And I promise you, I assure you, I guarantee you that this episode, I packed it with a punch. And we're going to discuss exactly what you guys want to talk about. WrestleMania, it's already been taped over the last 2 nights. What do we know coming out of it? We're going to talk about it in this podcast. AEW and NXT's ratings, we're going to talk about it in this podcast. A few other stories, I think you know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about it in this podcast, all in audio form. It's the best way I could do it for you guys. Over the last 24 hours, I was adding on to this podcast. And we packed over a half an hour's worth of content coming up in audio format. But I wanted to start this podcast off in front of the camera. I wanted you guys to see my face so you get this message loud and clear and as personable as I can possibly give it to you guys. And I want to say thank you for sticking with the Amplified Man and this channel during these hard times. And I truly hope that I am doing my part, entertaining you guys, as we all are trying to take care of ourselves, our family members, and our friends. If I can put out to thousands of you guys good, entertaining, knowledgeable content that makes you think, ponder, get creative, while staying intense and amplified, if I can deliver that type of content consistently, then I'm one happy son of a bitch. No question. But I always want to make sure I'm delivering content that is thought-provoking, that is getting you excited, that is making you get creative, that is entertaining. And even though, especially now more than ever, a lot of them are in audio format, true podcast format, right? Audio only. You guys are still willing to get amplified with the Amp Man. And that means so much, and I definitely appreciate that. And I make it a point. I make it a point at least a couple of times a week to do what I'm doing right now. Make sure that I'm in front of the camera. So we guys are, all of us, we're having this heart-to-heart, right? We're having this very personable convo because I always want you guys to know how appreciative I am of you guys. And just seeing your guys' response for this week, even though what the world is going through, and I am very happy with the content produced, and to see you guys loving the content this week, man, that is so awesome. Right from Monday, when I put up that Vince McMahon video about him having a financial collapse with WWE and the XFL, and then what happened 30 hours later, guys, if even, it was all over the headlines that Vince McMahon had to sell more stock, and financials for WWE are way worse than anybody even thought. To begin with, I told you guys 30 hours before in a video, before anybody else was talking about it, I told you guys what was happening. You know, when I can make videos like that, when I'm ahead of the curve, when I'm ahead of the dirt sheets, that makes me so proud to know that I am number one in this community. Not just because I say it, just because of my content. And then my Monday Night Raw review for Tuesday morning. You guys really love that, man. It was an audio only. I was in the car, and you guys know when I'm in the car, all bets are off. We're getting the most amplified ever. Something about being in the car, I just let loose, and I flipped the fuck out. And we had a lot of fun. It was probably one of my funniest videos I've ever recorded. I don't go into it with that in mind. Honestly, guys, it happens. My reviews start. Nothing is, unlike a lot of things in pro wrestling, nothing's choreographed. You know, I start my reviews and I end my reviews with just whatever is in my dome piece at the time. So you guys are getting just raw authenticity. And that's what happened on that Raw review. Ended up being hysterical. A lot of you guys told me you watched it several times. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then Wednesday, man. I was the first one, actually. Nobody else was discussing this. No videos, no nothing. About Vince McMahon being told that he should look for alternative plans Because as of now, Money in the Bank in Baltimore is not happening. We hope that changes, but I was the first one to break that story as well. And again, that's what makes me number one in this community. Not just because I'm saying it. It's not how many views a video gets or how many subscribers I get, because there's people that have been doing this way longer than me before the tube was broke. So they were able to accumulate a lot more subscribers and sustain more views. No, it's not about any of that. It's about the content that I'm putting out there and the audience that I do have, how they are showing their support and appreciation. And there's nothing like that in this community. Trust me, I've gauged everybody. The Amplified Man, I'm at the top of the heap because of my people. It's because of you guys. Trust me. I mean, the content that I'm putting out, yes, but the response is just as important. So I honestly thank you guys. And then, of course, yesterday's video with AEW and NXT's review. We were able to have a lot of fun there and just dish out the utmost in facts and truth when it comes to AEW and NXT. Nobody does that. Nobody. It just seems like everybody has a dog in the fight and they just kind of push that a little more. I promised you guys from day one, and I stay legit. I will always call it down the middle for AEW and NXT. And now here we are with this podcast. So like the whole week, man, even though these are trying times, even though we have to call audible after audible, even though we're all in times of adversity, I really feel like I'm dishing out some of the best content ever. And just judging by your guys' response, man, it makes it all worth it. I'm truly appreciative that you guys gave me a chance from day one. I am truly appreciative that you guys are loving the content. And I promise you, I ain't giving up. I ain't giving in to what's going on in the world. And I'm just going to double down, triple down, and then some. To be number one in this community means you got to keep grinding. You got to keep delivering. You got to keep being the baddest son of a bitch in the community. I promise you, my amplified unit, that's exactly what I am going to do. Whether you're hunkered down or you're braving it in the world, either which way, be on the lookout. There's a lot of content to come as we storm into April and beyond. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to deliver that message to you, even though in the times that we are in right now, and I know they're difficult for so many of us, for all of us, I want you guys to know that I'm here for you, and I'm rocking out. We're in this together, and we're going to kick this thing's ass, and we're all going to come out even better than when we came into this sumbitch. That's what we do in adversity. We become stronger. We become better. Now let's rock out. As I said, in the last 24 hours, I put together a lot of content for you guys, totaling over a half an hour. So hopefully, I know you will, you'll appreciate this. We had a lot of fun. We got amplified. We dropped facts and truths. We made people think. We called out some bullshit. We had a hell of a lot of fun. Check it out. Much love. Now, right from the jump, full disclosure, I had to push a couple of news topics to the side because there's one story over the last several hours that has completely knocked the pro wrestling world upside down, and that is Roman Reigns being pulled from WrestleMania 36. Roman Reigns is now out of his match with Bill Goldberg, and that is huge for many reasons. One of the biggest, obviously, because he was pulled the day his match was supposed to be taped within the last 24 hours. This looks to be a reputable story that is ever evolving, with major details emerging by the hour. However, we don't know much at this moment other than his match was supposed to be taped within the last 24 hours. Roman was pulled. Some are saying that Roman is the one that walked out because he didn't feel comfortable. Having dealt with what he just went through the past several years, we all know what he had and hope never has again. But something he always has to watch out for. Obviously, that compromises him with what's going on in the world. So there are reports that he's the one who walked away. And if that is the case, Why wait the day you're about to win the title when you know the match is only going to be 2 or 3 minutes tops? It's Bill Goldberg. Not many of his matches go longer than 2 to 3 minutes. You could have done this match in the parking lot somehow. That's why there has to be more to the story. Roman Reigns was completely fine the last couple of weeks, even showing up to SmackDown. The day he's going to win the belt in just a 2-minute match, you could have done this on the roof. And he pulled out. A lot of people showing Roman Reigns respect this morning. Well, he already earned our respect. Joe, the guy that plays Roman Reigns, already has all of our respect. For what he dealt with in his past, fighting through it, still battling on. No doubt. But Roman Reigns, the wrestler, we have to find out more. Something seems fishy to me, guys. How the hell are you going to do this build knowing what's going on, knowing what you have? Nobody is dumb enough to think or not know the details and the facts that if you have a compromised immune system, you probably shouldn't be in certain areas or situations. There's no way anybody is going to sell me that Roman was just too dumb to know he shouldn't be around that environment until he was about to win the championship. There's no way I'm going to believe Joe is dumb. He's a smart dude. Something is not right. There has to be more to the story. We heard reports that a lot of wrestlers, a lot of superstars were not happy with Mania even going on. They felt it should have been postponed. Is Roman just standing up for them too? In that case, again, that goes toward respect for Joe. More brownie points for Joe. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and tell you that I wanted to see the character Roman Reigns win another championship and be in another main event at WrestleMania. I'm not going to lie and say that. Because I didn't want to see him in another main event. I didn't want to see him winning another championship. Doesn't lead to anything. Doesn't get us excited. The diehard fan base, we just roll our eyes back. Here we go again. I understand if you're a Roman Reigns fan. I understand totally. Hey, it's another main event. It's another championship. You're like the fucking Patriots at that point. You're like Boston sports. Just another big fucking stage and another big title win. Seems like you guys can't lose. I understand. But for the rest of us, something different every now and again would be nice. So the respect, the brownie points that I'm giving absolutely to Joe, the guy that plays Roman. Roman, the character, to walk out the day he's about to win the championship, something doesn't make sense. He couldn't have just woke up and read in the newspaper, oh, wow, I have a situation here, right? It says here, if you have a compromised immune system, you probably shouldn't be out in the world. Something isn't adding up. And this seems to be a reputable story that he's been pulled. Major outlets have picked up on this, like the New York Post, Forbes, ESPN. This story broke like wildfire within the last several hours. Details, again, are still emerging, but this podcast had to go out to you guys. I couldn't wait around for even more details because tomorrow is the SmackDown review and reaction video. So on this channel, we got to keep moving. When more details arise, I will talk about them in tomorrow's SmackDown review and reaction, guys, because rest assured, we're going to find out a lot more over the next 24 hours. That's my guess. And I'll have more information for you guys. But this is just another oddity in this year's WrestleMania. I said it from the jump. WrestleMania has been canceled for me. Once they said Europe wasn't going to be in Tampa, Europe is like the heartbeat of a WrestleMania show. Then they said they're taking it totally out of Tampa. And so then it's really like, what are you going to do? Have it in a fucking abandoned warehouse? You're going to put it in the performance center? And then word broke that they actually are putting it into the performance center. And then word broke that there's going to be no fans in attendance. And then word broke that they're going to tape it weeks in advance. I mean, it kept getting more and more diluted to the point where this isn't even WrestleMania anymore. They're just going to put on some advertised matches in a fucking abandoned warehouse. That's all this is to me. This is not WrestleMania to the Amplified Man. It just isn't. And you could say, oh, BC, they're doing their best. At least they're putting on a show. That's the problem. At what point do you draw the line and say we should have postponed this? Right from the beginning, when we found out that our heartbeat, Europe, isn't going to be in attendance, that's when we knew we had a situation. And then when Tampa Bay was trying to get you to cancel for over a week, and the old man in Stamford, Connecticut was too damn stubborn to do such until he was basically forced out, once you were out of Tampa Bay in that stadium, at what point do you say, all right, we're just going to take a hiatus, we're going to postpone WrestleMania? It's not just best for the fans, but it's best for our superstars and our product. And then you found out you had to film in the performance center in front of nobody. Just another opportunity to just postpone it. But the stubborn old man, the greedy old man at Stanford, didn't want to do that. And then we find out now that it's got to be taped because Orlando is shutting things down. Another prime opportunity to just shut things down. Postpone. And then you find out that your own superstars are being quarantined from this. Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, Bobby Lashley now. And now Roman Reigns, your own guy that the old man has been trying to push for years. His golden boy is even walking away. At what point do you realize, oops, we made a bad decision. We should not have went on with this show. We should have took a little hiatus. It's okay to take a break. The world isn't going to end if you just take a little bit of a break. When the NFL finishes their season, their fans don't go, oh, that's it for all of time. It's been real. When the NBA finishes a season, fans don't walk away going, maybe I'll come back in a few years. I mean, if you're a New York Knicks fan, you probably want to do that. But, you know, if Major League Baseball finishes their World Series and the whole year is finished, fans don't go, oh, maybe I'll come back in 30 years. Oh, that's been fun. Glad I witnessed that in my lifetime. A season. No, they come back, man. Everybody just needs to catch their breath. The product becomes better when you have a little bit of a break. There was no reason that WWE couldn't have taken a month off. You probably just would have arisen more interest when you did come back. That's the sad truth, because the product's been so damn stale for years. That's my rant and shtick on that, guys. I feel this thing should have been postponed. It would have been better for everyone, and WrestleMania would have kept its integrity, its prestige. Right now, it is losing its integrity. There is no prestige. And I don't want to hear any BS that at least they're putting on a show. Stephanie McMahon just cut an interview within the last several hours, and she said everything we do is for our fans. They come first, and we want to make sure that we are serving them, was her exact words. Well, if you want to really do that, serve your pro wrestlers and your product. If you do that, and they are happy, and your product is as good as it can be, your fans will be happy. That's how this works. It's all one complete circle, and it goes around and around if you're doing your part, if everybody is doing their part. You want to make your fans happy, give this a few weeks. We're okay with it not happening on April 5th, and now 4th as well, We're okay with it not happening on that weekend if it means we get a real WrestleMania with fans can actually attend it. We'll be fine. We got the network. We'll watch a time when wrestling was, or WWE more specifically, was amazing. We'll go back in time for a month. It's okay. This comes off the heels, obviously, as Rey Mysterio has been pulled from his match. He was supposed to have a United States Championship match with Andrade. That's been pulled because Mysterio is now quarantined. Dana Brooke, her matchup six-pack challenge for Bayley's championship has now been compromised because Dana Brooke is now in isolation. We're hearing now that Bobby Lashley also is. He was supposed to build his feud. There was a little last-minute match with Aleister Black. There was supposed to be something last Monday, but Bobby Lashley has now been isolated. We don't know if he's going to completely miss his match with Black, but we know the build has been compromised, so it looks like that match as well might not go on. I know a lot of people are like, all right, who needed to see Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black anyway? But I'm just saying, that's a third match that's been compromised. And now we're hearing that Roman Reigns has now walked away because he doesn't feel right about it. Again, I feel something is up with that. Everything was fine until the day you're about to win the championship. You could have done it in 2 minutes in the fucking parking lot with nobody around. Something's not right. But now your main event, the old man's main event anyway, which you know is going to be Bill Goldberg and Roman Reigns, the championship match main event is now not just compromised, it's canceled. Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns all had matches, whether not significant at all or main event championship matches. I'm just naming the names that we know of. This goes with the report that a lot of superstars are not happy with putting on these shows taped. For many reasons. Probably their pay is up there as well. That's probably hugely compromised. What they're actually going to be being paid. But not performing in front of anybody. The way this is going down. They're all being tested on their way in as far as temperature. I know that isn't the be-all, end-all. You could still have it even though you don't have a temperature. But everybody is being tempted when they... Tempted? Everybody's being tempted. There's a fucking Sable and then all these girls in bikinis when you walk in. Everybody is getting their temperature. There you go. Being taken when they go into the PC. I think everybody is just on pins and needles. Nobody feels right about this. I mean, this whole scenario just keeps getting more and more odd. And it's because, not what's going on in the world, right? That's the main cause. But the reason that the train is going more and more off the track by the day in that company is because the company has been making the wrong decision from the jump. From the time this whole thing started, the old man has made one bad decision after another. And we're starting to see the ramifications. I mean, they're trying to fit WrestleMania in before the deadline of Orlando being shut down. They're rushing WrestleMania's filming. That's got to tell you another thing. I mean, there's so many things, guys, that does not feel right about this. Now Roman Reigns is out too, and we have to find out more info. Did WWE, because of Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, the word about Bob Lashley, and you know that Rey Mysterio was just here last week, at Raw, at the PC. Dana Brooke has been in the locker rooms recently. Bobby Lashley at international travel. You have to believe that they know more people in that locker room have it. There's no way it was just them. They have to know that. So did the company go, shit, anybody that compromised the immune system, you cannot be here because we're about, I bet you, this week, word is going to break that a lot more superstars have it and we don't want to be in trouble. Did WWE send him home? Or did Roman just walk out? And again, if that's the case, why was this done the day of his match? This was not thought about 48 hours ago, last week, 2 weeks ago, when we all knew how devastating this was, when we were all told, who the prime categories are that if somebody gets this, it's going to be drastically bad? Or could be anyway? And he's just finding this out now? No, Joe is not dumb, and I'm not going to believe it to be the case. Either way, this isn't about respect for Roman. I've always had the utmost respect for Joe. That's not going to change. If I find out he did walk, hey, even more. But the Roman Reigns character, walking away the day of his champion, something is not adding up. How do you guys feel, man? Do you guys think something's up? It's a little bit more fishy, or do you think he just woke up and said, I'm not showing up today? This is more serious than I thought. And if that's the case, then he is dumb. Then he's dumb. You just realized that in the last 24 hours when the whole world has been on a freaking lockdown of sorts. You're showing up last Friday like nothing. And now all of a sudden you're like, nah, I was about to win the title. They were going to do it in 2 minutes. Could have been in, could have been out. Nobody could have been around me. I wouldn't have to touch anything. Fucking Superman punch, spear, my hands never touch anything, and I'm out. It's WWE. We've seen the wackiest shit. They could have had that title match in the parking lot. These days, you don't even need an explanation. Kayla Braxton just shows up and goes, earlier today, Vince McMahon has said the title will be defended in the parking lot. That's it. These days, you don't even need explanations. The company is so out of touch and out of whack. I don't know. I have to find out more. Something is not right, man. And it's, you know, I'm glad the decision was made. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, with what Reigns has dealt with in the past, he should not have been there last Friday or 2 Fridays ago even. Whichever it was, or both, who knows? I just know the dude has been at that PC day after day, not just for filming. He's been there for several things, including promotional work. There's no reason he should have been there for the last 2 weeks. So what the fuck is another 2 minutes to win the championship? I hope he doesn't have it, right? If we find out word of that, then that's not good at all. Because again, what he had. So I hope that's not the case. Again, I can spend the next hour speculating. I don't want to do that. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the breaking story over the last several hours. It's taking on a life of its own. Major outlets have already picked it up. We got to find out more details. But again, I want to reiterate, he's just another one of many superstars we're hearing have been isolated this week. Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, Bobby Lashley being several others. And now Roman Reigns is another. And these are just the names that we know of, guys. And I'll keep you up to date over the next 24 hours and tomorrow's SmackDown review and reaction. Possibilities for a replacement, if they choose to do a replacement, the main name that we're hearing is Braun Strowman. If you would have told me that maybe 9 months ago, over a year ago, maybe I would have been on board. But they've given him too many pushes and then taken him back and then give him another push and then taken him back. They played so much yin and yang. They have 50-50 booked him so bad, so tragically, that I can't even look at him as a champion. Unless it's like with a tag belt with a 10-year-old like Nicholas. Because they haven't booked him like a champion. Not like a world champion for sure. So that's my only issue with that. Otherwise, I have no problem with Braun. It would be believable. But I still have in my mind all of his horrible booking scenarios. I still have in mind Brock Lesnar beating him in like a couple minutes tops. You guys remember that? Because I didn't forget it. And now all of a sudden he's just going to defeat a guy who beat Brock Lesnar in just a couple minutes. So he beats Brock in a couple of minutes. Brock beats Braun in just a couple minutes. But now Braun's beating Goldberg. I hope this makes sense, man. But that's what they're asking me to believe if it is indeed Braun. Some people are saying it should be Matt Riddle. But guys, come on. If you're a diehard smark like all of us, yes. Yeah, we would like it to be Riddle because we know there's a little bit of a history there. I mean, not big. The history is basically on Riddle's part. Riddle's talked a lot of shit on social media. That's the extent of it. Goldberg had 1 or 2 zingers back. That's it. WrestleMania is about bringing in the casual fan, whether we like it or not. The diehards don't necessarily like the casual fan because a lot is done in that company for them more than us. So we don't necessarily like the casual fan, but on this channel, I'm going to call it down the middle and call it what it is, right? I'm going to tell you guys the facts. WrestleMania is a large part for the casual fan as well. So you can't expect Matt Riddle to show up and the casual fan is going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? He's in a heavyweight championship match when he's never had a main roster match? And how are you going to explain that? Oh, well, he had a social media feud with him, so that's why he earned that. I mean, what the fuck? You know what I mean? You guys gotta think realistically. I'm a Matt Riddle fan. I would love to see it. You, if you're a diehard fan, would love to see it. But come on, guys. You gotta think clearly here. A lot of casual fans are gonna be watching WrestleMania. You honestly think they're gonna know who Matt Riddle is? And then when you explain it, is it gonna make sense to you? He had a social media feud, so that's... Of course that makes sense that he's getting a championship match on the main roster. He talks shit on social media. He earned it. Doesn't make sense, guys. And if that's the case, wouldn't Keith Lee be a better option? Way more believable? Big boy Keith Lee comes in 2 minutes, squashes fucking Goldberg. But again, it wouldn't make sense because they didn't earn anything. You can't just show up to the main roster and get a title opportunity. Then again, in this company, who the fuck knows? Maybe that's how it works. CM Punk was another name that was being tossed around. Word broke that his agent actually tried to contact WWE and they shut him down. Vince McMahon said, he's the one guy I can't do business again with. I can't trust him. Apparently, these were Vince McMahon's exact quotes to CM Punk's agent. So Punk, I told you guys from day one he was selling out. FS1, everyone was like, it's not WWE, it's with Fox. And I was like, who the fuck cares? He's taking a job talking about WWE. That's the first step in the process of selling out. Oh, no, he's going to talk shit about him, BC. Just watch. It's going to be great. Please. I talk more shit about WWE on this channel than Punk does on Fox. Punk plays it so safe because Punk knows he wants some of that WWE money. But in the process, he devalued his own name. Because he didn't even make a dent when he went over to Fox. The ratings are in the fucking gutter. He devalued his name and now nobody even cares about him coming back. So now Vince is like, please, we saw what he pulled in. We don't even mention his name when we talk about backstage anymore. CM Punk ruined it for himself. His stock is so devalued. But you talk about selling out. He had his agent talk to Vince McMahon. That's a true story, by the way. That's not just that's not some rumor. But I'm not surprised. You guys may be, you know, or the ones that were fighting me about it. Oh, he didn't sell out, BC. It's Fox. It's not WWE. Please, it's WWE. And now he's trying to literally get in there. Get that big WWE payday. I find that interesting. But there's all these names, man. You know, they should have done this right from the beginning and had Bray Wyatt with the championship. Him and John Cena should have been the championship match. You wouldn't have had this issue. You want to make things right? You make John Cena and Bray Wyatt. The winner of that, have them go and take the championship off of Goldberg. Little mini tournament. Do you guys remember WrestleMania 10? I think it was WrestleMania 10. I think it was Lex Luger versus Bret Hart. And the winner of that goes on to a final match to take on the winner of Owen Hart and Yokozuna. No, I'm fucking that up. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart is what it was. It was brother versus brother, I think. So it was Bret versus Owen, and in a separate match, Lex Luger versus Yokozuna. That's what it was. And the winner of both matches met in the main event of WrestleMania 10, and it ended up being Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. Bret ended up winning the championship. I still remember the ending visual of everybody hoisting Bret Hart up with the championship to end the show at WrestleMania 10. But you could do a little mini tournament like that, you know, right your wrongs. Give that championship back over to Bray. Many ways you can go about it, but this is just a crazy scenario, guys. I cannot remember a time like this in professional wrestling in WWE. This is the most chaotic thing I have ever witnessed. But then again, you look at where we are in the world right now, I guess it fits in perfectly. By the way, a little bit of a tidbit on John Cena, Bray Wyatt, which I just aforementioned. I'm hearing, guys, that It's already been filmed, obviously. I think all of WrestleMania by now has been filmed. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, from what I'm hearing, is supposed to be a cinematic feel. It's supposed to be shot like a movie. This makes sense because Bray Wyatt, you can do a lot of cool shit like that with Bray. We've already seen some in the past with like Randy Orton and with Matt Hardy. But also because John Cena is now the big movie star. So I'm sure he was definitely down with that as well. Given the circumstances that WWE finds themselves in, this makes perfect sense. Make this cinematic. Make it a little type of a movie type deal. Film this in some abandoned warehouse, which is what I'm hearing has been done. Not just a PC. I'm hearing a lot of things. I don't want to say too much just in case some of what I am saying is not all there. But I am saying be expecting something unique here. Something really, really cool. This is not going to be just a one-on-one matchup in that ring. Cena, Wyatt is being shot movie style. That's what we're hearing. Also, guys, a few other topics I did want to get to. Again, I apologize that I had to move topics off of the show. There was no way that the Roman Reigns situation wasn't going to be dedicated most of the time. So I did have to move some things around. But I did want to just touch up on Rezar from the AOP. He is expected to be out of action from 6 to 9 months, anywhere between that time frame, with his torn bicep injury. We knew the injury that he had, and we knew the amount of time that he most likely would be out for, but we were just awaiting the official call. Unfortunately, we did get that. He is going to be out 6 to 9 months with that torn bicep injury. Will the Architects of Pain, the 4-man group, stay a 3-man group for now, or will they add? Will they recruit a 4th member? Either which way, if they stay a 3-man group or they recruit a 4th, they're going to have to be booked way better than they are right now. They have to be way more dominant. They have to be a faction that's badass, that we care about. That when they come out, we go, uh-oh, here comes the Architects of Pain. We don't get that vibe or feel. I'm sure most of us, when they come out, are still just rolling our eyes to the back of our dome pieces. Oh, here we go. Or this is going to be boring. You know, you don't want that feel. So whether they stay 3 or out of 4th, the booking is what it really comes down to. I would like to see somebody like Ricochet join him. He has nothing to lose. It's clear that the old man lost any faith in him. It's clear that his promo skills are just not improving. The personality and that charisma that is needed to be a real big star, it's not there in Ricochet. And when you're the size he is to begin with, you need all the advantages that you can be playing with. You need them on your side. And what he really has is just his unbelievable athletic ability. But you have to have more than that in pro wrestling. So my problem there too is even if they turn him heel and have him join Murphy and Rollins, he has to find himself personality-wise. But I feel like turning him heel is the best way to do that. It's the only way. Maybe we'll see a side of Ricochet we didn't even know was in him, but we won't know until they turn him heel. They have nothing to lose. As a face, he's done. There's only so many flips and dives that are going to get you as over as possibly can be. That was the extent of it. Behind the mic and cutting those backstage promos, they're captivating nobody. And it's clear the old man has given up on him. I was hoping for a lot more from Ricochet. Turning him heel might be a fucking huge blessing to the company and Ricochet. And in the process, all of us fans as well. I think that would be an awesome dynamic too. Buddy Murphy, Ricochet, and Rollins together. Ricochet, a badass, ruthless heel. Again, maybe that'll bring something out of him. But I'm just saying, guys, that's just one example. Maybe you guys have a name in mind that you think would improve the character, the faction, and the company and the fans as a whole. Everything would be better because this person joined the group. If you guys have a different name, let me know. Ricochet is just somebody that comes to mind. If you're going to toy around with a 4th member, let's make it fun and interesting. But all the best to Razar. Again, he's out for the better part of, definitely the rest of 2020. He'll probably be back around Royal Rumble 2021 time. Jon Moxley, you guys hear this story? This is funny, man. Jon Moxley video bombed his wife, Renee Young, during a live home edition of WWE Backstage via FS1. Renee was filming from her home, and Mox did a quick run-in with their little dog to give Renee a little scare. Mox looked directly into the camera before darting off. Obviously, Mox was just having some fun at home. No harm, no foul. I doubt very much AEW would have any issue with this. In fact, the old man in Stamford, Connecticut would most likely be the most pissed more than anyone else. Just seeing Dean Ambrose, if this comes across Vince's desk or hears about it, and he knows that he lost Dean Ambrose, because to the old man, it's Dean Ambrose. I bet you he refuses to call him Jon Moxley. It's Dean Ambrose forever! But he hears that he showed up on FS1 or something like that, talking about WWE, a program talking about WWE, and there's Ambrose to McMahon. Just letting him slip to AEW. I bet you he's the only one infuriated if he hears that news. But I thought it was awesome seeing Mox do that to Renee Young. It's a good laugh in these trying times, man. Everybody's kind of on edge. I think that's awesome. And you know what? Just the thought of McMahon being pissed off about that, it's probably why Mox did it. I'm going to fuck with the old man a little bit. Oh, man. I know this kind of went a little lengthy, guys. We're going near an hour. So I'll end it with the ratings this week for Dynamite and NXT and USA. AEW Dynamite pulled in 819,000 viewers. That is down from last week's 932,000 viewers. So that's 113,000 viewer drop-off. NXT this week pulled in 669,000 viewers. That is up from last week's 542,000 viewers. So NXT went up 127,000 viewers. So Dynamite took a dip, NXT went up. But if you guys want to talk the difference between the two, then you got to realize that AEW Dynamite still has almost 150,000, maybe more, right? Hold on. This is my perfectionism. I have to get this right, guys. 31, 40. Yeah, that's 150,000 viewer difference, Dynamite over NXT. So that's still really good. That's still badass, even though you had that drop. So, I don't know, man. These things are going to go up and down. NXT obviously pulled 542,000 last week because all they put together was a highlight package. I'm actually impressed that they even went over 500,000. I really am. So now they actually put together an actual show this week, so I'm not surprised that they went up. A little surprised that Dynamite went down because, again, last week they put on such an awesome show. You would have thought that would carry out to this week. But no, 819. They went down 113,000. Just not sure how that equates. But I did tell you guys in yesterday's video, I put up that AEW NXT review, and I told you guys that NXT would be over that 600 and Dynamite would be in the 800s. I believe that's exactly what I said, and that's what happened. But, yeah, still 150,000 difference, though. It would have been nice to say, man, I can't wait till Dynamite hits that mill, man. They really are trying so hard, even in these trying times. They just can't get back to that million. They came close a few times. Anyway, guys, that's what I got for you. I think this is roughly about 45 minutes, but I know you guys got a lot to do. Or not, maybe. What am I saying? I know a lot of people are probably indoors. Another 45 BC. The truth is, I have a lot to do. I still have to hit the road again, and I'm trying to be good, guys. It's, we're all in this together, man. You got health officials saying that everyone eventually is gonna get it. I mean, that's not too optimistic. But everybody's watching what they touch and staying away from people. I mean, what a world we are living in, man. What times we are living in, I tell you. This is all just so surreal. But, we can't stop living, we have to go outside and still do things. Otherwise, I mean, the whole world would just go crazy. But just be smart, keep your distance like they're saying, man. I wash my hands a million times anyway because I have a little bit of OCD. I'm a hypochondriac to a point. So I'm always washing my hands 914 times a day. So that's not really an issue. And I can stay away from people for sure, man. I have no problem doing that. So it is what it is. I just, I can't stand when the world isn't as normal as can be. Does that make sense, guys? I know I'm going on a little side rant here. It has nothing to do with pro wrestling, but I like when everything is like running. I like when things are like normal. I know I'm not explaining that well, but just something like a Starbucks being closed, or cars not being on the road, people not really being outside, or just, stores shut down, things like that. To me, it's just this feeling comes over me like something's not right. It's not normal, and the world isn't running. We're not up and going. So I don't like that. And I know on Sundays a lot of things are like that in the name of the Lord, and that's totally respectful. That's cool. But on Sundays, nowadays, guys, when I was growing up, everything was closed on Sunday. Nowadays, a lot of things are actually open. So a lot of younger people right now listening to me, you're like, what are you talking about? Sunday is just like every other day. But when I was growing up, Sunday was always reserved. In the name of the Lord, everything just shut down. And it was always just a weird feeling because I was like, oh man, like nothing is open, like normalcy is over right now. For one day, it was the end of the world. That's kind of what I feel right now, the last few weeks. It's kind of like nothing is normal, nothing is open. I can't just get a coffee where I would like to, when I would like to. Just everything's different, I know, man. But we're hanging in there, guys. We're kicking ass, and time heals all wounds, literally. All we need is a little patience, as Axl Rose once said. All right. I can keep you guys here another hour, getting you depressed about the world. Much love and respect. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow for the SmackDown review and reaction. For now, keep kicking ass, whether out in the world or quarantined in your house. Think, be, live. Amplified always. Check you later.